congrats are in order.
Thank you.
Masterton nominee, what does it mean to you? Because if you look at the criteria, it's pretty specific and it means a lot. What does it mean to you, Luke?
Yeah, well, I'm obviously thankful to everyone who voted for me. And I know there's people in this room that had a say in it, so I appreciate that. And yeah, I mean, obviously your career, when you start and you come into the league, a lot of people probably, you're kind of oblivious to what it actually is going to take to have a long, career in the league. And a lot of people probably think it's going to be, or dream of it just being a straight arrow right to the top and finishing out, a champion or, playing a certain amount of games or years or whatever it takes. In reality, most guys, it's a lot of ups and downs. And I think, you got to figure out ways to, when you have it down, to get through it and actually become stronger out of it. And I think, you got to continue to put in the work and be supported by obviously a lot of good people around you. And that's family, that's teammates, that's coaches, that's organizations. And there's a lot of motivations to want to continue to push through and have a long, successful career. So, I mean, there's always bumps in the roads, and sometimes it's not what happens, but it's how you react to it. And that's what I was taught at a young age. And I'm thankful for those lessons, and I appreciate, like I said, the support I've gotten, in particular this year.
The sportsmanship one is interesting because you play a certain kind of game where it's predicated on physical play and occasionally dropping the mitts. I mean, I guess you could be a sportsman in that regard if you do it with the right intent, I would imagine.
Knock on wood, the one thing I'm hanging my hat on right now is, I've gotten a few scraps and try to be physical along the way, but I've never been suspended or fined. So maybe that has something to do with sportsmanship. So I try to play the game, the right way between the whistles and play it clean. But I mean, that's actually what I'm proud of, as far as, because there's times where, you come close and, like I said, you're in a lot of heated emotional battles along the way, but I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I always try to play the game honestly.
Have you ever had a moment where you were like, "Oh, I might get suspended for that"?
Last year, I had a warning, so that was that was along the way. George was good to me there, but I mean, along the way, like I said, when you have obviously contact on the way, I always try to obviously you respect the guys you're competing against, and no one wants to have illegal hits and dirty plays. And as I go on talking about this, I really hope that I can keep my act in line here.
Did you have, as a kid growing up, did you have medals in your room like SO Achievement Awards or anything? Where does this rank in terms of, I mean, it's a significant honor, but have you had any others in your career, Luke?
No, I mean, maybe I think a little with the Kelowna Rockets a little bit is the first thing that probably comes to mind. I don't know if there's I can't remember what the awards are, but I just remember there's always an awards banquet and, a couple of those ones along the way and team awards, whatever. And, but no, I mean, honestly, when I first found out about this, I mean, I was surprised. I was humbled and I actually originally, when I first found out, I kind of was thinking, are you talking to the right person right now? Because I was totally caught off guard, and it didn't even occur to me that be in the mix or something like that. And I know a lot of guys who end up winning it, end up having some sort of hardships along the way, or in terms of injury or comeback player of the year, in terms of that. But I mean, everyone kind of, like I said, has ups and downs throughout their career, and always kind of, looked up to guys who I've played with and guys around the league who have gone through some tough times, whether it's in terms of, playing the game or off the ice or whatever, and guys who find a way and kind of, like I said earlier, can look past it and, actually build and develop kind of through those hardships.
What did your brother think? I mean, you took a pretty good run at him when he was not feeling 100% with that rib. What'd your brother think? Is he happy for you? Does he know?
Yeah. No, I got a couple, texts along the way, and like I said, he's one of the guys I talk to him every day. I mean, we have a great relationship in terms of, checking in on each other and everything that's going on, especially hockey-wise. I mean, obviously we've been going at this together for a long time, played with each other, in Philadelphia for, 3.5 years, and played against one another. And we know kind of the work that goes into it. When it's the off season, we're training together, pushing each other on the ice, training together. And I don't want to say it's ever like a competition, but it's always, we're pushing each other and trying to figure out ways to, push each other through it. It's not an easy league to be a part of and have success in and go out for a long time. So I think we're both grateful that we have someone that we can lean on who, who's literally been there, with each other growing up and can relate to it.
The result last night in Vegas means that you guys are still alive,
right,
hanging by a thread, but
yep,
you're still in it. When the house cleaning happened here in December, you'd played 25 games as a team, and I think a lot of people thought there would probably be weeks or months of meaningless hockey. I mean, ultimately, what does it mean to you to have another chance tomorrow night? Game 80 has some significance.
Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, we've been like you said, pushing for a long time, and you create your own breaks along the way, and then the one thing we haven't had is any margin for error, and we've been pushing along the way and kind of climbed our way back into it, and lately, the past few couple weeks we've had some error. Now we're finally, it seems like, caught a bit of a break here where we're not totally out of it. With a few games remaining, I mean, it felt like when we were winning, other teams are winning, and now we've lost a couple, and other teams are kind of same boat. So I mean, you fight right till the end. You never know. I mean, I think, when we first started talking about kind of how we're going to turn things around back in December, you look at the big picture, it probably, it was overwhelming to think, climbing when you're back into it. But when you kind of break it down and, like Bruce said earlier, you focus on the game in hand and the one day, and then you win the week, and then you kind of go from there. And the smaller goals are a little bit more realistic, and then, the bigger picture starts to be a little more clear. But, here we are in the past, like you said, in the last few days of the season, and like you said, we're hanging on, and that's all you can ask for at this time is to continue to play meaningful games. And like I said, we're gonna have to take care of our own business, but we're gonna continue to need some help, and we'll see where we are at the end of the week.
What about the psyche of a professional athlete to wake up tomorrow knowing it's a game day where there are still some stakes? Like, I would imagine one of the hardest things would be playing games when you're mathematically eliminated and you still have to show up, and knowing, like, you guys are also driven.
Yeah. Like,
how tough are those games to play if you get to that?
Well, there's a couple different ways of looking at it. I mean, sometimes you're playing, like we're playing tomorrow. It could be an elimination game where guys are in, who maybe haven't had, playoff experience, haven't had those types of, situations. So, you got to show up and see what it's, come to work tomorrow and compete, and every play matters, every shift matters, where, guys got to dig in, and your season's on the line. And then there's the other side of looking at it too, where, I've been in it where you've been out of the playoffs for, a month or two left, and sometimes even the All-Star break. I've been in teams where, you think, okay, well, how am I going to get through the next couple of months? And then in reality, it's, well, you're playing for your career, you're playing for your teammates, you're playing for the organization, you're trying to prove to management, coaches, people watching that, you bring value. So there's always something to play for. And, obviously we all play to win the Stanley Cup. That's obviously everyone's goal, and to try to win. And beyond that, I mean, guys have individual goals. Guys have, a lot to prove in this league. I mean, there's always guys looking to fight and try to take your job. So, I mean, if you show up to the rink and into the game thinking that you're safe, then I think that's, when you're definitely going to find yourself in some trouble.
A lot of the young guys on this team haven't had a stretch run like this late in the regular season. The one year they went to the playoffs, it was the pandemic shortened season and the bubble. So regardless of how things go the next 3 games, the rest of the week, how valuable do you think this stretch run has been for some of those guys to get an experience of huge games down the stretch?
Yeah, I think it is valuable. I mean, I got asked it a couple games ago, I think, in a pregame interview or something like that, where someone mentioned that Hughes was talking about it, of how valuable the experience is. And that's the one thing that can't be overlooked, is you can't teach experience, you need to go through it. And a lot of guys haven't gone through it. And I think if we're sitting here playing meaningless hockey the last 2 months, and you're probably sitting there, okay, well, now we're starting over and we need that experience started the next year. I think this experience is going to be valuable, and I think a lot of guys are probably starting to understand what it takes and how hard it is to, be in a fight right till the end. And teams bring their best every night. Teams are fighting for positioning and fighting for playoff spots, and it's a totally different outlook. And saying that, you don't want to focus too much in the future. Like we talked about earlier, we got a couple games here left, and we're going to bring our best and see where we end up. But there's no question that I think the experience is only going to benefit us.
Luke, Quinn talked a lot about having some goals this year, and he wouldn't tell us any numbers. His big goal was to improve his plus-minus, which is dramatically turned around. But here we are. He's tied with Doug Lidster going into tomorrow night. What can you say about his season and his improvement? I mean, you saw him as a rookie. You're back together with him again. Where has he improved the most?
Well, everywhere. I mean, he's still so young, which is the crazy thing. It kind of feels like he's been around a little bit longer than he actually has. Obviously, you know, his power, like the way he runs power play is top of the league, and the way he can, you know, skate himself out of trouble and make those good outlet passes is once again top of the league. And I just think defending, he's gotten so much better off the rush. He takes away time and space so fast off the rush and closes in on guys where a lot of guys can close gaps off the rush, and you know, a lot quicker than some guys. And he's one of those guys that's elite at it. And I think he's just, you know, winning all his battles in the corner in front of the net and competing super hard in the D zone too. So yeah, we're lucky to have him. He's getting so much better. I don't know what his personal goals are. I told him on the plane the other day, congrats on you know, that assist record he's got. And he kind of shrugged it off like he was, which is, you know, how humble and good he is, where he was, you know, more upset about how the game went. And I was like, well, you must be pretty proud, and your, you know, your family and your dad must be texting. He's like, yeah, but I mean, who cares? Like, well, you know, it sucks we lost. So that's where his mindset is, and he's a team first guy, and obviously, you know, he's probably just going to be breaking his own awards and records for the next decade or so here. He's probably just going to be chasing himself. So yeah, we're lucky to have him, and he's only going to get better.
Did you watch the game last night between Vegas and San Jose?
I caught the end. Actually, I just caught, like, I was paying attention to it, just checking the scores, and then I watched overtime there, and I saw the power play in the shootout, and went from there. But yeah,
You didn't see the tying goal with a second to go?
I caught the end of it. But yeah, honestly, I mean, I didn't understand probably at the time, like a lot of guys, how meaningful maybe it was to kind of keep your hopes and your dreams alive. So I actually found out more about it probably when I showed up to the rink this morning, to be honest with you. I watched, like I said, the overtime and the shootout, and kind of went to bed after that, and probably didn't understand the significance of it.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks guys.